Yo, what's going on, Dragon Ballers? Welcome back to another video. We have yet to go over the red cards, even though they've been spoiled for a bit. We're going to talk about the red cards coming out in set 10 today. If you are new here, make sure to subscribe. We're dropping Dragon Ball videos 5 days a week, even during quarantine, so you can stay up to date. That being said, let's get right into it. We're starting off with the Yamcha leader. I think he's actually very, very powerful. I will explain that as we read through the effect. When this card attacks, look at the top 2 cards of your deck, add up to one red card among them to your hand, then place any remaining cards in your drop area, and this card gets plus 5,000 power for the turn. Okay, so right off the bat, your leader is a Scrambling Assault Goten. Look at the top 2, add any red card, and then your leader gains 5k. So that means you don't have to attack a leader because he doesn't say you have to. You also get to add a selective card to your hand, and you get 5k. That means you're threatening unison cards. That is very, very good. When you're making a red good card dot deck, you do want to have a leader that's this generic, plus he adds any red card. So this guy is very powerful. Awaken when he lives at 5 or less, you draw 1, untap 1. Let's check out the backside. Yamcha Supersonic Striker. Auto, when this card attacks, look at the top 2 cards of your deck, add a red card, then put any cards remaining in the drop area, and he gains 5,000. So once again, that's selective draw, and he's a 20k swinger. That's very strong. If you have a red unison card in play, when your opponent takes damage from non-keyword skills on your battle cards or unison cards, deal 1 damage to your opponent, then negate this skill for the game. So the burn effect, very powerful, doesn't trigger from keyword skills, so you do have to do the effect by usually an auto or an activate main. 9 times out of 10 it'll be an auto, so you can pretty much game your opponent earlier than most decks. And the fact that he threatens unisons is very, very good. I think we're going to move into a format where you're either able to threaten unisons or you can't, and the decks that can threaten unisons are definitely going to be at a bit of an advantage. Your deck just either can or cannot inherently deal with them. Yamcha is one of those decks that seems like it really can. Pilaf, when this card attacks, draw 1. Awaken when life 4 or less, or you have 3 more battle cards in play, which isn't the hardest thing to do, especially in monocolor, because you actually have turn 1 plays. You may switch up 2 of energy to active mode and flip over. Pilaf, Shu, and Mai assemble. Auto, when this card attacks, draw 1. Activate main once per turn. Choose 3 of your battle cards, place them in the owner's drop area. Choose one of your red unison cards. It gains triple attack for the turn. This is definitely not bad if there's a unison card that, you know, gains double strike or something inherent like that. I don't really think there are any of those for red, but still not too bad. We got to keep on reading. Vegito, Unison of Might, one of our 4 dropped unisons. Activate main plus 1, draw 1 card, then choose up to 1 mono red battle card with energy cost of 2 or less in your hand and play it. So that's pretty good because you will cast this thing for 4. It is a 4 cost minimum, and at least with a plus 1 you get a draw off of it, and you get to cast a mono red battle card, so you get a little bit more tempo there for your 4 energy cost. You'll definitely want to awaken with this because, you know, you want to keep some energy open for defense, but it's still a very, very good unison in that sense. -2 activate main until the end of your opponent's next turn. If your opponent would play a battle card using a skill, it's placed in their drop area instead. Very matchup dependent, but still very good because on 4 you can -2 this, and it's a 20k unison, so it's going to be harder for your opponent to remove. They'll have to combo into it with a leader swing typically, but it is a very good -2 effect depending on certain matchups. And then -5 activate main. If your opponent doesn't have any battle cards in play, deal 1 damage to the opponent. This is a very good wing condition with the Yamcha leader, obviously, because it deals damage and your opponent takes an additional damage from the Yamcha leader. Shenron, our first red unison we're going to read. Permanent, your red cards can attack your opponent's battle cards in active mode. It is a 3 cost 20k unison. +1 activate main, choose up 2 of your opponent's battle cards. They get minus 15,000 power for the turn. I talked about this in the video earlier this week, where this helps a lot of older archetypes like Red Vegeta Baby and Cooler. Still seems very good in general just for red decks because of that permanent. -2 activate main, look at your opponent's hand, choose up to 1 battle card, 25,000 power or less, and discard it. So red is really turning into a color that, you know, it's not quite hand control in the sense of green where they're just like shredding your hand apart, but you get that selective look like in a lot of red cards nowadays. Broly Crown of Retribution, this card, the Gotenks Unison. So in that sense, red is becoming very controlly like that, and it's very, very good effect. For -2, it's very powerful. Vegeta Elite Unison, 2 drop, red, auto when this card attacks, add a marker to it, then choose one of your opponent's battle cards and it gets minus 5,000 for the turn. -1 activate main, choose one of your red battle cards or leader cards, and it gets plus 5,000 power and can attack your opponent's battle cards in active mode for the turn. This is a very good 2-drop red unison. You know, you kind of sometimes want to have sequential unisons, and in red's case, you do have a 2, a 3, and a 4, but you also have the Gotenks Unison of Rage, which is another very powerful unison. I would say if your leader doesn't need the Self-Awaken, you could probably go with this one, especially if you want to be more aggressive. This unison definitely rewards you for being aggressive, so I'm going to want to keep that in mind. Son Goku Savagery Awaken, we have a 5-drop 25k Deflect, so that's always very powerful. Place 2 cards from life in your drop area. When this card is played, deal 1 damage to your opponent. So another way to basically go for game with Yamcha, if your opponent's at that 2 life, you basically have a free 5-drop that your opponent can't really stop. They take a damage as long as you have the 2 life to pay for it, and then they take another damage from Yamcha. So that's basically a way to double strike them, which is pretty powerful. Son Goku, bursting with energy, 1-drop 5k, auto once per turn. Add 1 card from life to your hand. When this card attacks a card that isn't a leader card, switch card to active mode and it gets plus 10,000 power for the turn. Now this is another good card for fighting Unisons because you do get 2 swings out of it. So that does help for removing 2 markers, and on most turn 2s, your opponent will be tapped out with a Unison on board, so it usually will be pretty vulnerable. Nice thing about this though is, like, if you wanted to attack with it and keep self-awakening with it continuously, it puts itself back to active mode and you don't have to attack the second time. So you can basically protect your self-awakener like that, which I'm a pretty big fan of with that. Yamcha Merciless Barrage, excellent card. It's our free counterplay for red. Basically, if you have the Unison in play with 2 or more markers, you can play this card without paying its energy cost, and when you do, you minus 15 2 of your opponent's battle cards. Very, very good against wide boards. It's going to be good against something like Vegex. It's going to be good against a lot of these wide rush aggro decks we're seeing, especially in the mono black colors, but it's good in general. It's very, very good. I kind of almost wish you could stack the minus 15 on the same battle card, but that might be a little bit too busted. I don't know. But then again, green has something that kills, you know, up to 7 cost, so maybe it would have been fine. Yamcha the Desert Hyena. This card's weird, but at the same time, very good. 4-drop 20k permanent. If your leader is red, this card gets plus 10,000 power. Auto once per turn. During a battle where this card is attacking, when your opponent activates a counter skill, switch this card to active mode. Auto once per turn. When this card KOs an opponent's battle card, switch this card to active mode and it gets plus 10,000 power and triple strike for the turn. So a potential 40k triple striker. He's actually very easy to get going because you have the Shenron that lets you attack battle cards in active mode with your red battle cards. So you're going to have a good time KOing things there. And then if they want to negate this thing, well, they kind of really can't because you'll be able to attack with it again. So it seems like a very good rare, but you don't necessarily want to cast it for 4. Of course, it's vulnerable to counterplay, but we have a card that we'll talk about in a bit that will help you get it into play. Master Roshi Martial Virtuoso. Surprised I'm able to pronounce that. 1-drop 5k counter attack. If you have a red Unison card in play, your opponent can't attack with battle cards with 25,000 power or more for the turn, then play this card. So a good defensive tool for red. This is always going to be something that's format dependent. Whenever you see something this specific, you have to have the Unison card in play and your opponent has to be attacking with big battle cards. This is going to be very format and matchup specific. Could be a good sideboard card, something you definitely want to pick up for sure. Bulma the Bunny Girl. We have a 2-drop 1k unique blocker. Auto, one of your red Earthling cards other than a Bulma card is removed from a battle area by an opponent's skill. You may play this card from your hand. If you do, play up to 1 red Earthling only battle card, very important there, with energy cost of 4 or less from your drop area. So that's going to be one of the ways we can cheat that Yamcha we just read into play. So that's kind of like a 0 energy way to do it. It is kind of specific. It does require your opponent to remove your battle card by a skill, not even by KO. So if they attack into a battle card, no good. It is very specific. This might be tough to play in main decks because of how specific that is, but it could be a good sideboard card. I mean, green has tons of removal. Blue has a good amount of removal with bottom decking things, so that could be a solid game plan. Bulma Out Adventuring, Shigesh 2.0. Let's give a read to the card that is going to possibly make Cronulla relevant again. Auto, if your leader card is red and you and your opponent have a total of 8 or less life, so pretty specific there. When this card is used in a combo, draw 1 card, and if it's your turn, choose up to 1 red Earthling card with an energy cost of 1 in your hand and play it. Very interesting here. So very specific costs to activate, still get you a draw, and allows you to play an Earthling. So in certain decks, this is going to have only upside because you're still getting a regular super combo out of it, but you get the added benefit of potentially playing an Earthling. So that is very, very good in that respect. The 8 or less life between you and your opponent, not impossible, not the hardest thing I've ever seen to accomplish. This is a card you definitely want to watch out for. It could be very good. Activate main once per turn, choose one of your mono red battle cards or Unison cards, and it gets plus 5,000 power for the turn. That's actually even better because you can play it for 1, quickly boost a Unison or a battle card, and then you can combo with it and then do the rest of the effect. Very, very strong. Chi-Chi, Ox King's Daughter, a regular super combo, nothing crazy to look at. Innocent Princess Chi-Chi, 2-drop 1k unique blocker, activate main. If you have a red Unison card with 3 or more markers in play this card from your hand. So a little protection for the Unisons when you have it, but also just a free play Earthling, not bad at all. Oolong the Many-Faced, 2-drop 10k blocker. When this card's KO, draw 1, choose up to 1 of your red Unison cards, gets plus 5,000 power for the turn. Good defensive option for your Unison, but casting it for 2 is pretty meh. This is something you could play with the Bulma Bunny Girl. but you probably always go for a higher cost battle card anyway. I don't think this card will see too much play. Oolong, Goku's pal, 1-drop 4K auto. When this card's played, draw 1. So an Earthling cantrip you can play off that Bulma super combo. Activate battle, place this card in the owner's drop area, choose one of your red unison cards, gets plus 10,000 power for the battle. So that is a great card to combo with the Bulma, because, you know, let's say you're going for game with the unison card, you play it with the Bulma, then you activate battle, and you're good to go from there. Puar, Yamcha's sidekick, 1-drop auto. If it's your turn, when this card is using the combo with a red Yamcha card, gets plus 5,000 combo for the battle. Pretty meh. I mean, there's just better cards to play usually than those types of cards. There are a lot of cards that have the plus 5k during the battle, but again, just better cards to play. 3-drop 30k Ox King, very cool for red skillless players. Pilaf, plotting world domination, 1-drop auto. When this card is played, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, add up to 1 red unison card at specified cost of 4, or 1 red Earthling with energy cost of 4 or less among them to your hand and shuffle your deck. Very, very good searcher. There aren't like a ton of unisons for this thing to search. Obviously, the only one we have now is the Vegito, but I mean, the realm of red 4 cost or less Earthlings is pretty much endless. So that's a very good searcher right there. Very, very good. Pilaf, Dragon Ball Chaser, 2-drop 15k unique auto. If the other card is Pilaf and you have 3 or more mono red energy, when this card is played from your hand, play up to 1 red Mai and up to 1 red Shu with energy cost of 2 or less from your deck, then shuffle your deck. One thing to keep in mind here is that the red Witch Leader is a Pilaf as well, at least on the unawakened side. So that's always going to be something you want to keep in mind when you're reading these new cards. Obviously, they're typically meant to work with the new stuff in the new set, but it could work with that Witch Leader as well. Just want to keep that in mind. Assemble a squad is a thing. Shu, Pilaf's Admirer, 1-drop 5k, activate main, plays this card in the owner's drop area. Choose up to 1 red Pilaf or Mai. Wow, I just combined those. Card in your hand with energy cost of 2 or less and play it. Not bad. Shu, Dragon Ball Chaser, 2-drop 15k unique auto. If your leader card is a Pilaf and you have 3 or more mono red energy, when this card is played, play up to 1 red Pilaf or up to 1 red Mai card with energy cost of 2 or less from your deck, then shuffle your deck. So basically, they all pretty much fetch each other. Mai, the Gangs, Femme Fatale auto. When this card is played, look at the top 5 cards of your deck, add up to 1 Earthling card with energy cost of 4 or less among them to your hand, then shuffle your deck. Another searcher, another card playable off of the Mai super combo, so can definitely be pretty good there. Mai, Dragon Ball Chaser, same idea. You play a red Pilaf or a red Shu if you have 3 or more mono red energy, so they all again just kind of fetch each other. Pilaf Machine, the Master Bot, 6-drop 25k. Now we come to a boss card. Triple attack, activate main, pay 3, send 1 Pilaf, Mai, and Shu from your drop area to your warp. Play this card from your hand. Auto, when this card is removed from your battle area by an opponent's skill or KO'd, choose up to 1 red Pilaf Machine Ostrich form from your hand, drop area, or deck. Play it, then shuffle your deck. So a lot of floating here. A lot of floating. Pretty easy to get this thing on the board. A 3-drop 25k essentially. Let's see what the Ostrich form does. Pilaf Machine Ostrich form, blocker, activate main, pay 2, send 1 Pilaf Shu from your drop area to your warp. Play this card from your hand. When this card is played, choose one of your opponent's battle cards, and it gets minus 25,000 power for the turn. So this whole Pilaf thing, I think, is like a cute techie engine. I don't know if it'll necessarily be meta, but it all floats, and floating and getting free value is always going to be a good thing in the game, so keep that in mind. Mercenary Tau, Unequaled Assassin, 2-drop unique 15k, activate main. If your leader card is red and you have 3 or more non-token battle cards in play, play this card from your hand and gains critical for the turn. Free 15k, that can always be relevant. Unique kind of hurts it, but then again, it's obviously balanced, so playing 4 of it could be a risk, but definitely could be decent. Pilaf's Castle, Field, Auto. If the leader card is a red Pilaf card and you choose 2 cards from your hand and place them at the bottom of your deck in any order, when you activate this card, draw 3 cards. Not terrible, not great. Activate main, switch this card to rest mode, then choose one of your red battle cards and place it in the owner's drop area. Choose one of your red battle cards and gets plus 5,000 power for the turn. Okay, this card, in my opinion, is pretty awful. Yeah, it gets your Pilaf pieces in the drop area, but I think there's just better ways to do that, like much better ways. And this card is very, very meh. Pilaf Missile are free counterplay as a red archetype permanent. If all your energy is on a red, you can activate this card for free by discarding 2. And then if you have the red unison in play, the battle card has 15,000 power or less. It's placed in the owner's drop area instead of being played. Then choose one of your leader cards, and it gets plus 5,000 power for the turn. Kind of similar to Beerus Ball, not terrible, but the negating a play of 15k or less has always been very, very hit or miss. So we'll have to keep an eye on that. Again, can be format dependent. Wolffang Fist, awesome card. Counterattack. Again, keep in mind these new SR counterattacks don't actually negate attacks. So if your leader card is mono red, choose up to one attacking battle card or leader card. Ignoring barrier gets minus 15,000 power for the battle. Permanent, if you have a red unison card in play, you can activate this card's counter skill from your hand without paying energy cost. So these are very weird because they don't actually protect your unisons most of the time, because they don't actually stop attacks, but they are very good depending on the situation and the matchup. It's almost like a Nimbus, but it does minus more power and it gets around barrier. That can be very, very good. So those are all the red cards. I think the red cards are very good. I think Yamcha has easy potential to be meta. I think it'll pretty much be a red good card deck, and there's not a ton of red generically good cards in this set, but the leader's very good and the unisons are very good. So keep that in mind, guys. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. Let me know in the comments below what you thought. Thanks for watching. I will see you guys next time.